Hey everybody, welcome to another video with the NSDA. My name is Dwayne Blais, and today we're going to go through a little progression on forward skating. Oftentimes we get asked questions by coaches or parents looking to help their young player work on skating. And how do they start? Number one thing is going to be that hockey player position. So if you're working with young kids, you want to make sure that they're in that good hockey player position with that head up, back straight, knees bent, and our shoulders over our knees and then knees over our toes. And making sure players are on the ball of their foot. So on that mid part of their foot right in here, and they're in a good center position over the top of the middle of their foot. And as they're going through, we're gonna start off real basic, and then we're gonna add a couple different progressions to it. So whether you work with a young player all the way through to a professional player, we're gonna go through those same fundamentals and then add a little bit of more structured technique or a little more difficult technique for them as they get moving through. So start off down here on the far end. With any age player, whether they're young or older, we'd always kind of start off with real fundamentals. So if you think of taking piano lessons, you got to start off with your scale. Same thing with skating. So number one thing is staying nice and low in that hockey player position, good knee bend. And then all we're gonna have them do is push out with that right leg or left leg, but the one leg is gonna be their planted leg. So that leg is gonna be their glide leg. And we want that toe cap up ice and that knee nice and straight up ice. So every time they push, they're gonna come back together and snap together. A lot of inefficiencies we see are pushing and then that foot coming around, or pushing out here and kicking up, or riding that inside edge, so when they push, they end up falling over here. So ideally we want them nice and straight and then long stride out. We call this kind of almost like a one-legged squat or one-legged lunge, and want them engaged. That quad's gonna be nice and flexed here, even at the young ages, keep nice and low, and then a good push together, push together. We also want to address head and upper body. So making sure those arms are going back and forth. And again, you gotta remember, we're not sprinting. So arms don't have to go perfectly back and forth. They can go on a bit of an angle, but we wanna try to avoid that front movement side to side. So as they're coming out, we're just gonna have them push together, and doing that length of the ice. So long stride out, just gonna push together, and push together, push together. And again, trying to draw nice straight lines all the way down as they're going. And then we'd have them switch their legs as they're moving through on that. And then once they're done that, we do a little bit of a stride and hold. So even for the young ages, you can have them try this. You'll notice a lot of the players will fall over as they're going through it, or you'll see them wobble a little bit. But as they practice and get better, it'll be amazing on how much better they get with it. But now we're gonna stride and then hold it, and stride and hold, stride and hold, stride and hold. So all the way down the ice, they're trying to hold that one-legged glide and controlling their body as they're going through. Big thing there too is engaging the core. A lot of times that core is going to tie our upper body into our lower body. And if that core is weak or not engaged, you're going to see players are going to be folding in half in the middle. We want to make sure that core is engaged, so when they're pushing and they're holding that leg out, they're able to hold that glide with that core engaged. All right, and that's a huge start. And then once we get going, then we're going to add both legs, get rid of that pause, and have them just skate normally. One thing we add as players get a little bit older is we'll add a snap and drag. So we'll drag that foot back. And the reason we do that is muscle memory. So when they're snapping that foot out, they're gonna drag that toe back. And the reason for that is to fully extend that stride. So lengthen that stride, snap that toe, and then that straight line coming back with that heel staying low. So as they're coming back, they're coming right back underneath. And what it would look like is this. So again, I'm planting that one leg, I'm in that squat position. So my toe cap, my knee are going forward, and every time I snap, I'm gonna drag that toe back, and drag that toe back, drag that toe back, drag that toe back. So all I'm doing is reinforcing that muscle memory, so my muscles remember that when I come out, I'm coming right back in. And then once players get good at it, we'll have them maybe drag for 3-4 strides, and then pick that toe up, and then continue with normal strides with that heel coming back nice and low. So it'll look like this, coming out, stride, and then they'll pick it up and bring it right back, right back, right back. And again, we'll use that more with older players as they're getting a little bit older and as they're getting a little bit better at it. But you'll notice when players first start with it, a lot of times you'll notice that when they're pushing, that foot will end up coming out like this. And that's gonna give them that side-to-side movement. So we wanna make sure that they're trying to track in straight lines. And if you allow a player to do this 3, 4, 5 times, you'll notice that they're gonna get better every repetition, and it'll get smoother and smoother and smoother. And as they get good, I'll do a couple kind of full speed, but we'll get them to drag with both feet. So get them to skate, like just like they're normally skating, but dragging those toes in order to keep that muscle memory going and keeping those heels nice and low and keeping that base in a good spot, right? We don't want that base to get too wide. We see a lot of players that wide track. We want to try to keep that base underneath their shoulders in order to maximize our stride. So as we're coming through, I'll go to the blue line here, and I'll skate with both feet and I'll drag both of them. So as I'm coming out here, long strides out and drag. Now, we never want a player to skate down the ice like that because they're gonna slow up and it won't look very good. It's gonna be loud. So now going through that, same idea, we do 3-4 strides, dragging our feet, and then we're gonna pick our foot up and then finish out with normal strides. So we start off with dragging, and then come in here, and then long, 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 and trying to keep that same technique. So trying to keep that same technique the whole time. So through that drag, and then when we lift our feet up, keeping that same exact technique the whole way through. So once you've gone through one leg pushes, and then as the players get better at that, adding maybe a drag to it, even with young players, adding a drag, bringing that foot back, and then adding 2-foot drags, and then long strides out. Then a lot of times what we'll do is add progression to it. So we'll start off real slow, and then we'll progress to more speed, more speed, more speed. And you can use the lines. So every line, they gotta go a little bit quicker. You can use a whistle. Every time you blow a whistle, they gotta speed up. And the key there is making sure that the only parts of their body that are gonna be going faster are their arms and their legs. And a lot of times you'll see, especially young kids, their head will be going side to side, their shoulders are all over the place. You wanna make sure their head's up, shoulders are square, and as you pick up speed, just those arms and those feet are gonna pick up speed as you're going. So if I'll go through here to the red line, we're gonna start off slow and then pick up speed. A lot of times too, you'll notice players will start to wide track. So as they're picking up speed, they're nice and tight here, and then as they pick up speed, everything gets widened out, widened out, widened out, and then their strides become fast, but they're really, really short, making them not able to pick up as much speed. So I wanna try to keep them in that good tight base. And one thing as coaches and parents, we gotta always remember that technique comes before speed. So if their technique is good, their speed's gonna get much better. Where a lot of times coaches are so, and parents are so concerned about speed that we neglect the technique a little bit. So as they go through stuff like this, we wanna slow them down a little bit, make sure their technique's good, and then we can continue to add speed as they go. But what we'd have them do is start off real slow, just long strides out, and then they're gonna pick it up, 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 all the way through, just like that. All right, there's some simple ways to add a little bit of progression to forward skating. So starting off with your practice, maybe one-legged pushes, adding that second push, and then maybe next week you come back and you add drag. So add something a little bit different to it. Add drags with 2 feet, and then long strides out, and adding some progression as you go through. You can also add progression with 1 foot. So if a player's pushing with 1 foot, you can have them go real, real slow. And then as they're going, they can pick up speed, pick up speed, pick up speed, and pick up that recovery as they're moving through. One thing to keep in mind too, when you're working with young players and older players all the way up to professional, in order to get fast, we need to have our recovery speed up. So the faster we can recover, the faster we can go from our push back to our recovery to push again, the faster we're gonna be. So creating faster turnover is gonna be huge for speed. But again, keeping that technique in place.